Yo, what is up guys, Loki here, back at it again with another YouTube video. Qingyi is the upcoming character in Zenless Zone 0, and if you are in desperate need of a stunner, another stunner other than Anby, and you don't have Kaleda, or if you don't have Lycan, even though arguably Qingyi is going to be better than Lycan because she does increase the stun multiplier, and that's going to lead to more damage phases, you may not want to overlook this character. We are going to be reacting to a video from EO. Let's get into today's content.
It took me a little bit, but I have successfully no-hit run critical Shuiyu defense number 7. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I need that accomplishment. Okay, that felt good for me to do. Now, let me tell you my first impressions on Qingyi, because honestly, I think this character might be OD and probably number 1 in the game. So far from what I've been able to play with Qingyi, she's one of those characters that really gravitates towards understanding the full value of the game and then understanding the full value of the character. Now, I say that, and I don't mean that like, oh man, if you don't play the game this way, then no, this isn't that type of party. I'm not saying that. I don't know why people think that I always say that, but it is what it is. Anyhow, my point being is that Qingyi really has a lot of value.
I actually want to read her weapon. When a basic attack hits an enemy, gain 1 stack of Terrific. Each stack of Terrific increases the user's impact by 0.7%, stacking up to 30 times and lasts for 8 seconds. The duration of each stack is calculated separately. Can't read the rest, but this is the test server, it looks like. But I was told, so does the impact stat govern how much stun you do? Because I actually do not know. Impact stat does increase the amount of days that you accumulate. Okay. I was wondering, I wasn't exactly sure. I know I looked at this back when I first started building my Anby, but I totally forgot what this did. Okay. I just want to make sure.
Kit. Even if we look at what we have now, basic attack, penultimate, a lot of what you're doing revolves around this, which is going to be like a basic attack 3 kind of thing, where you're spamming the basic attack to get a bunch of electric shocks, but you don't really need to do a bunch of electric shocks. What you're doing is you're building up the meter so that you can get the flash connect. Flash connect is going to be this bar that you'll see as you're playing the character, or rather as you see me playing the character. You'll see this bar fill up in the top left, her gauge. That's going to be flash connect. Then you get the flash connect state, or the flash something state. Yeah, I'm right, the flash connect state. And then this is what's going to allow you to use your final attack, or your finishing blow. And this is
old so square to launch 5 consecutive forward rush attacks, then execute a finishing strike and inflicts massive electric damage. Release during the move to trigger the finishing strike early. Activate the finishing strike just before the character is attacked to trigger perfect dodge. That is actually sick. It has built-in perfect dodge. But yeah, Shuiyu, Nicole, Qingyi is going to be a crazy team. That team's going to be insane. As far as the status of my account, we pulled Ellen, right? And then Xion banner came out. We had to go to hard pity. The hard is the pity to pull Xion, and then we got her weapon, or her W engine at 3, so that's actually crazy. So if we win another 50-50, that would be huge. I would love to win another 50-50 and have the perfect Xion team, because Xion is my favorite character in the game. The character is so fun to play.
This is something that it looks like these characters coming in 1.1, all of them seem to have some type of finishing blow or final attack or big bang, whatever, something that they need to do in order to get access to all of what they want, whether that be a crap ton of damage, whether that be some speed or incredible speed, mind you, whether that be something like a anomaly proficiency increase or status updates, whatever, right? I don't know why I said status update, like this is Facebook, this isn't Facebook, bro. Anyway, the main point being is that Qingyi needs to do this thing in order to get that thing. Now, there's tons of different ways that you can go about getting electric damage or building up this meter, such as your dodge attacks, your dodge counters, your parries, into the actual parry, the defensive assist, I think is what it's called.
Wait,
your parry damage or building up this meter, such as your dodge attacks, your dodge counters.
Okay. Sorry. I just had to look at something really quick.
Your parries into the actual parry, the defensive assist, I think is what it's called. You also have your EX skill. You have your regular skill that's going to be doing electric damage. You could build up electric damage however you want to, but the fastest way to do that would be spamming her basic attack 3. Then you have the idea, the concept that you can get into basic attack 3 by using EX skill or using her, the dodge counter, if I'm not mistaken, and the parry, if I'm not mistaken, all lead you back into basic attack 3. So it's very similar to how Shuiyu works, but it's not as versatile with what Shuiyu has to offer on the table as far as like playing the character. When you move beyond that point, you do get into the aspect of looking at the finishing strike, and you're actually hitting that finishing strike. Once you get this is where I believe the character starts to change. I think her value really starts to change once you understand how to use the Flash Connect state, the Enchanted Moonlit Blossom, so on and so forth. Because then you have like over 75% of the Flash Connect, the voltage. And then if you're using a little bit more than that, you get an increase in days, you get an increase in the attack damage. She also has, from what I can see through her, let me just double check real quick, her M1, if I'm not mistaken. This completely tells me how this character wants to be played, or rather what they're aiming for with this character, because basically it turns
voltage is instantly restored to its maximum and the accumulation rate is increased by 30%. When using her basic attack, Enchanted Moonlit Blossoms, if Flash Connect voltage is at its maximum, the attacker will reduce the defense of the enemy and hits by 15%, and her crit rate against that enemy will increase by 20% for 15 seconds. Okay.
Turns her into a DPS character, a sub DPS character, so she can pretty much work on her own. So now, because of all the attacks she's doing, the high attack that you can build into her, and the crit rate, M1 basically takes this to another level. Not only is it going to increase the accumulation rate that you get from using Flash Connect voltage, but it's also going to increase the damage you're doing. It's going to reduce the defenses of the enemies being hit, which is pretty much everybody, because everyone's inside of that field whenever she's spamming the electric attack. And then she also increases her crit rate by 20% for 15 seconds, which, given the fact that you're constantly doing this, it's pretty much permanent anytime.
Is she invulnerable when she goes into the spam basic attack state? I actually don't know. I'm assuming she is, because you kind of lose control over the character and she just kind of goes crazy with the animation
time she's on the field. I know I said this for Shuiyu, and I'm definitely gonna like double down whenever you guys see the guide for Shuiyu, but honestly I feel like Qingyi, she's not my favorite, but I think the direction of these characters is really starting to take a turn. Like I'm a big fan of what we're seeing immediately. This isn't like a 1.4 or a 1.6 or even a 2.0 type of thing. We're immediately seeing the complexity that some of these characters can have. One of the things that I really want to point out is the Flash Golden state, or the Flash Connect state. When you're using the character, in fact, here, let me just show you real quick before I actually show you my whole impressions on the thing and whatnot. I'm gonna take you into Shuiyu defense real quick because I'm just already here. I didn't feel like going to training, but if I need to, I will. So basically, you are building up all of this electric meter, right? The flash happens, you're gonna be able to get your, I guess this version of the finishing blow, and then you go into that and you do whatever you want. Now I still don't have this, so I'm gonna try and show you guys real quick. You see that I did a dodge right there. That's pretty standard, yeah? To get that dodge out, now I have the state. Now I have this golden state. You see my staff is shining brightly, and I'm gonna try and get this. So I need one of them to try and hit me, but I need them to try and hit me while I'm doing this move. Basically, if you were to do 1, 2, 3 and like that, just like that, exactly, boom, what happens is she's able to force the perfect dodge state when she's using this finishing blow where she steps back and then strikes with the staff, which is really cool. The positives to this is that you can control when you get hit, when you don't get hit. It does a crap ton of damage. And let me just kind of go over here. I was actually talking to some of the boys about this too. When you do this, your key goal for using this character is to build up 20 stacks. Every hit that you do in that mode, the golden state, gives you 5 stacks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, something like that, or 1, 2, 3, 4, and then finishing blow is going to give you the rest of it, right? So you,
bro, each stack of subjugation, applies. Okay, when she lands a finishing strike with her basic attack, it applies 5 stacks of subjugation to the enemy, stacking up to 20 times. Each stack of subjugation increases the target's stun damage multiplier by 2.5%. That is insane. That's a higher stun damage multiplier than Lycan, which means when the boss is stunned during that DPS phase, you're gonna do a ton more damage. Everything's gonna hit harder. your entire rotation's gonna hit harder. I just noticed I'm over here. My bad. But yeah, that's one reason why I want to pull for this character. I despise lolly characters, but I want to pull for this character because this team is going to be so good. It's going to be so good. She has some complexity to her kit, which is kind of nice.
You get your 20 stacks. What happens though is if you were at any point in time after 2 hits, the goal is 2 hits. 1, 2, perfect dodge. 1, 2, perfect dodge. This will auto give you 20 hits. It also shortcuts you needing to do the other 3 hits, and it immediately goes into that. Why I say this is because I just got through like trying to do this 0-hit run or this no-hit run in the game against this very same thing. The reason I'm telling you guys this is because there's tons of situations where you'll be doing something like this and you'll want to dodge, right? Because she unfortunately does not take, she doesn't have iframes or invulnerability, not iframes. She doesn't have invulnerability when using her heavy attack, right? She's gonna get hit. And as you see in Shuiyu Defense 7, the critical mode, I'm getting hit by mobs and they're taking off clean chunks of my HP, right? Look at this, boom, 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 800. That's 1600 damage that I'm taking from mobs, right? Another 800 and now she's gone, she's dead. So you get to a point in the game and I don't think I can show you guys the extra bit of what's happening in Shuiyu defense, but there are more floors than 7. All right, you just progressively take more damage in the game. It's ridiculous. I like it, but I know that the community, most of the community is not here yet. A lot of us are not at a point where we're having level 50 out characters. We have level 50 weapons. We have, you know, plus 15 on all of our disc drives for every single character. It's a lot to be able to pump into a character right now. But as we look into it and we're going over a lot of what's in the game.
I just completed critical mode yesterday. Obviously I didn't S everything because I just don't have, you know, I'm not a whale. But I did complete critical mode. I don't know if he's saying they're gonna add more floors to critical mode or if we're gonna have like, I'm assuming we're not gonna have enemies at like level 80 and 90 when we might. What's the highest level you can get to in Zenless Zone 0? It's not 60, it's like 70 or something, right? So maybe we will have level 80, 90 enemies that'll like one-shot you. I mean, it's essentially artificial difficulty, which, you know how I feel about artificial difficulty. I'd rather see smarter enemies that make you work for it rather than like something just super beefy and super tanky that you have to hit forever and you constantly have to, like, I don't know, that just doesn't like necessarily feel good. But
or a lot of what these characters have to offer. In Qingyi's case, I think she feels right. I think this character is the best version of a stun character right now, and I think she's actually going to dethrone Lycon. I think Lycon is one of those situations where, like, if I were to look at, you know, typically the ice team, right? Lycon goes over here, boom, bam, bam, and then I'm done. Yeah, this is the premier ice team. I think these two teams are going to be your premier teams. I really don't see anyone replacing Nicole on this team. I've tried Rena, I've tried using Lucy, even like the idea, the concept of like Lucy and Ben, right, with my Shuiyu, it's a completely different team at this point. But when it comes to like pure damage, raw power, I think these two teams are just too good to beat. The reason I don't have Sokaku on this team over Rena, and I guess M6 Sokaku would probably make a big difference the same way that M6 Nicole would make a big difference. But I think Rena overall just adds a little bit more. She gives penetration to the entire team, and that does help out, especially whenever you get the freeze and the shatter, and you also get disorder. It also helps you in situations like this, where recommended attributes, you see that the enemies are weak to both ice and ether. What ends up happening is you have situations where these enemies put on a shield. Some enemies or all enemies on that floor will not have the same shield. Some enemies will have ice, some enemies will have ether, and it's your job to kind of like beat down the enemies. If for whatever reason you had a full ice team and then the two mobs or the two main enemies, like little spinny guys that I just showed you guys, those guys were electric and you had all ice, it's going to be a really tough time for you to beat through that. And you kind of have to raw brute or brute force your way through some of these situations going through the later halves of Shuiyu defense, or like the critical nodes of Shuiyu defense. And then of course, like Hollow Zero is a whole different thing. 45, we have a whole different Hollow Zero now. Inferno Reap, I believe, is what they showed off during the live stream. So there's so much that we're getting just in 1.1 alone, that having a character like Qingyi, who's just pure, I don't know how else to explain it. She's just good. She's really fucking fucking good. I don't know if they were thinking when they made her, but she's really good. Now,
is she really that broken? Is she really that broken? Because I know Lycan can stun pretty much like any enemy in the game with like 2 combos, and those combos come out very fast. So like, I don't own the character, so you know, I haven't tested him, but I've seen the gameplay of just Lycan stunning with like everything in 2 combos. So if she can stun faster than that, it's like the faster your stunner stuns, the quicker you get to DPS, the quicker you clear, right? Also, the faster your stunner stuns and the more that damage multiplier, that days multiplier goes up. Like, people sleep on that a lot, right? People sleep on that days multiplier. That as that percentage goes up, all of your Shion's damage is going to be higher because it's multiplied by that percentage, right? So like, having a character like this is going to be insane for your ether side. Even if the enemy's not weak to ether, if you manage to stun them, you're still gonna output, you know, major damage, unless they're resistant to ether, obviously, because then they take half damage. Which I hope they get rid of that disgusting gray number for resisting damage. It's so ugly. There's like so many UI improvements that I want in combat, but we'll see what happens, because it's like, oh my gosh, this this team, but with Ambi, I've been using this team a lot. When you have a lot of ether on the field, you can't see anything. If I'm inside the ether, I need to be able to like clearly see through it. It's oh my gosh, with my ADHD, it's so hard to see. It's so hard to see. And then like I get so distracted that like when an enemy does their glint before they attack you, you can't see it. If there's a ton of ether on the screen, you literally can't see it. Go to my Twitch VOD from yesterday and look at my critical clear of Shuiyu defense. There were so many times where I got hit because I was dealing so much damage and I couldn't see. It's so annoying.
I'll just shortcut this before we get into like the actual me playing the game and giving you my first impressions, which I'm giving you my first impression now, but first impressions of me actually having the character in my hands and playing her for the first time and going through this and getting my cheeks clapped, all that kind of stuff. I think if you already have Lycon, or if you already have Coleta, or even a highly invested Ambi, or even a Ben, I haven't spoken too highly or too much on this, but Ben works as a great stun character. In fact, Ben gives you a couple different options or a couple different like buffs that the other characters don't give you for stunning. It just kind of comes down to like how you want to play the game. If you need more of a parry, which Ben is perfect at, but ultimately, if you already have a highly invested stun character, 2 of them, I don't think you need to worry about Qingyi. Now, if you have Shuiyu, obviously you really need her weapon. I think she's one of the few characters that I actually agree with. She doesn't need her weapon. Now, I think her weapon is fantastic. Don't get me wrong. I think this is her best weapon. I don't care if it's by 3%, 4%, 20%, or 40%. I think this weapon belongs on Shuiyu, and it skyrockets her into oblivion on what you can and can't do. But if you don't have that and you're trying to min-max your pools to build out the team fully, you could always come back and get the weapons later, right? You could
I pulled it at 3.
always come back and get M1 later. But I think giving her Starlight engine works perfectly fine. Some of you also have the Brimstone. Brimstone works too. It's just both of these have different ramp ups, right? It just comes down to what you're doing, but ultimately you can do whatever the hell you want. I think this team is rock solid. I think if you did have Qingyi and you didn't have Shuiyu and you also didn't have Ellen for whatever reason, she fits on everything, bro. You want to put her with Nekomata, she works. You want to put her with Grace, she works. You want to put her with Anton, boy, does Anton love him some Qingyi. You want to put her with Soldier 11, she works. You want to do the Anomaly team.
I didn't even think about that. That's actually a good point, because I mean, I don't use Anton anymore because now I just run Ellen and Julian on the other side. But with Anton wants the enemy to be shocked before he's like drilling them, right? Pause. But yeah, she'd definitely be like a really good teammate for him.
With Lucy and Piper, it works. You want to put her with Korn or Billy? Y'all want to see a Billy and Qingyi like showcase? Come on, bro, it works. So like, the character is too good. Now, I'm not saying that because I want her to get nerfed. I mean, literally, if you happen to get this character, you're chilling. You don't got to worry about a lot. But I rambled enough. let me go ahead and show you guys my first impression of playing through the character for the first time and giving y'all all that. Beyond that point, I do have the no hit run. I think it'll be too long if I put it in this video, so maybe it'll be its own separate recording. I'm not entirely upload. I'm not entirely too sure how I want to do that. If you want to see it, just like the video, like 1,000 likes, and I'll drop it immediately. Right, as soon as the video hits 1,000 likes, I'll drop it immediately, regardless of whatever I had planned to drop. But I will still give you the video no matter what. So it doesn't matter. I'm just, if you want it immediately, you let me know, because I don't see people doing no hit runs. I don't even know if that's a thing over here in the community. So yeah. But it was really fun to do. Anyway, yeah, have fun. Watch the video, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Let me know the other early access videos that you want to see. I kind of forgot to mention that part. So I guess I'm going to have to go back and like put a little timestamp or something that says, this is from the creator experience server. That's on me. That's my bad. It is what it is. Let me know the videos you guys want to see. All right, cool.
So I will leave a link in the description for the rest of the video, which is more of a first impressions, getting a feel for the character, and then some Shuiyu defense gameplay. Let me know if you guys are gonna pull for Qingyi. I love bow staff characters ever since Donatello, ever since Keelik from Soul Calibur. Bow staff characters are super dope to me. I love their play style, so I definitely will attempt to pull this character, because I definitely need another stunner. I just have Anby. That is it. I have friends that have Coleta, Lycan, Anby. They have like all the stunners, right? And I just have Anby over here, right? So it is kind of rough. But yeah, let me know what you guys think down in the comment section, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.